you get today. Oh, so good to be here. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. Sing it with me. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich. Hey, that's easy, right? I think you can do it with me. You guys want to sing it with me? Let's know it. Here we go. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. Filthy, stinking rich. All right, here we go to that part B. Dripping in joy, dripping in joy, dripping in peace, dripping in love. We have everything we need. Dripping in joy, dripping in peace, dripping in love. We have everything we need. I say we're so filthy, stinking rich. Ha! You know I gotta rap for you a little bit. Here we go. Spilling up my veins, digging on the decadence, goodness reigns. Queen bee being on the throne of ease, rich with infinite potentiality. We think money has value. Listen, it's paper, metal, electronic transmission. We get what we give. We are unique. We breathe. Cannot just give, cannot just receive. Law of circulation, money secondary. You have an essence only you can carry. As I advance on my journey, I see there is a power for good, and it can use me. All right, now you know it. Sing it with me. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. Yeah, stand up, feel it. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. Dripping in joy, dripping in peace, dripping in love. We have everything we need. Dripping in joy, dripping in peace, dripping in love. We have everything we need. Sing it with me. So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich we are. I want you to shout out your blessings. I want to hear some blessings. I want to hear them. Night Chihuahuas. Come on, let me. Fill the room with it. Fill the room with the blessings, with the riches. Fill it out. Let's do it. Oh, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich. Let me hear you say, I am filthy, stinking rich. I am filthy, stinking rich. With love and joy. Here we go. Dripping in joy, dripping in peace, dripping in love. We have everything we need. Joy, dripping in joy, peace, dripping in peace, love, dripping in love. We have everything we need. Oh, we are so rich. I just don't want it to end, but I know the song has to end. That's it. All right. So one more time, just voices singing So Rich. How about that? So rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich, so rich. We are filthy, stinking rich. Namaste. I love you so much, Seattle.
Well, it's been my purpose for as many years as I want to remember. I'm sure I could remember longer, but that I take the fall time to talk about thriving. And thriving means to do well. And thriving is natural. Now, it may not be normal, but it is natural. Nature thrives. The universe sets nature up to thrive. We were set up to thrive. What gets in the way is what gets in the way of a lot of thriving, and that's other ideas. ideas get in the way of thriving. Whether it's the idea of well, let's just cover over this swamp, and it'll, you know, because human beings get involved in things. Have you noticed? And sometimes they upset the natural balance of nature, and then things don't thrive as well. And our own thoughts get in the way of our thinking, and then we don't thrive so well either. So I've wanted to remind us collectively every year, at least once, that to do well is normal. No, to do well is natural. But we have to change our normal way of thinking, what seems to be normal for us. I was speaking to someone after first service, and she realizes that she's got a pattern that she needs to move away from, even though that pattern is what's normal for her. I want to share my last thoughts with you today about this, but before I do that, I need to go backwards. I want to go backwards to last week's talk, which said that the only thing that we really want to do or need to do to have a thriving life is to heal our original sin. And some of you were here last week because you're not going, ooh, original sin, where am I? Well, you're here. It's okay. But the original sin is a mistake, and the original mistake that any of us make, either individually or collectively, is the idea that we're all by ourselves. It's a sin, it's a mistake. That I'm alone, my life doesn't count, I'm isolated, it's just little old me. If it is to be, it's up to me. Is to be, it's up to me is something that came out of the personal growth movement in the 80s and 90s, and let's just be forgiven of that. Because think about it, if it is to be, it's up to me, doesn't that put a lot of pressure on you? And so that means you're only going to dream as much as you think you can accomplish. Well, hopefully you let that go, because Spirit can dream so much bigger than you can. I mean, I love collecting stories about people that have done amazing things because they would not let go of a dream that was implanted in them, and they had no reason to believe that they could do it. What's the name? Who was the lead singer for Queen? Freddie Mercury. Yeah, Freddie Mercury. He had no reason to believe he could do well. He didn't come from those kind of circumstances. He wasn't supported in his youth. He thought he was ugly. He hated his teeth. He was so incredibly shy that on his free time he hung out in his room with his cat. But he knew he had something really big that wanted to be expressed through him. Amen. It was not, if it is to be, it's up to me. It's to be because something big is happening through me. Big music, big ideas, big sound. We heal our sense of separation by courting our relationship with the infinite, to seek that experience of being connected. And that in and of itself will change everything. That in and of itself is a marvelous thing. I'm working with a group of 40 ministers, and one woman said, who has been dealing with an addiction for the last 12 years, said, in courting my relationship with Spirit and doing my practice so that all I care about is Spirit, this 12-step program that I'm on has become so easy, whereas before it was a daily drudgery, day by day, and now it's just a day. Just seeking our connection will make everything shift. But oftentimes we go to God for a thing, for a healing. I'm not feeling well, so if all else fails, let's turn to God. No, you start turning to God and less will fail. Less will fail. It doesn't mean nothing will fail, because stuff still happens. I live on a farm, so I can say this, you can't. Shit happens. But you know what? When you've got Spirit on your side, you don't get it all over you. Number two, the second thing that I want to say, and this goes back even before last week's talk, which was about our sense of separation. Before that, I talked that if you want to overcome that sense of separation, if you want anything, you're probably going to have to really persist at it. It may not be easy, The way that we have been thinking, there are neurological pathways in your brain that are deep. You're not going to form a new pathway by just, oh, I went to this church and I have this affirmation now. You will need to continually choose a new path until it becomes indelibly engraved in your brain. That's the way it works. Because what you believe about yourself is what you will experience about yourself. I mean, it would be great if we could just do, enlightenment and do a drive-by and everything was okay. But I've never seen that work. Now, it doesn't have to be hard. It can be just minutes a day, but you've got to be intentional. Do I really want to see myself as one with the one, therefore supported by the whole universe? That's going to take a different mindset and therefore attention on that mindset. Just attention. There was a young Zen student who went to the Roshi and said, tell me about enlightenment. I'm not getting it. And he says, and the Roshi said, attention. Well, yeah, but can you elaborate? Attention, attention, attention. Which leads me to today's talk. I want to share these last few things because as you are seeking your experience of being intimate with the infinite, as you're seeking your connection with something greater than yourself, and you're willing to really seek that, then we just add some other things in that help you thrive. And the first one is, you have to know what you want and you have to claim it. You have to talk about it. You have to say, this is my good. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. See, a lot of people think that I will base what I want by what I think I can have. But that's not the creative process. The universe is in a flow, and one of the things I said last week is that giving and receiving, you can't tell where it begins. It's not like you can give and then receive or receive and then give. It's one thing. It's the chicken and the egg. Nothing came first. It's a way of living. But in creation, there is something that comes first. And that is, what do you want? What is the end? What's the intention? Where do you want to go? What do you want to have? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? So many people keep their dreams so cramped together because I can't possibly do that, so I'm not even going to dream about it, and you become dead. One of the things I said on Facebook is it's not a shame to die, it's a shame to die before you're dead. And when we don't follow our dreams or live what's trying to happen through us, we die. We die in the inside. So ask yourself, what is it that I want? And boy, I'm having to do that all the time. There are times in certain relationships that are going sideways, and I have to say, well, what is it that I want? And I have to keep that in mind until everything straightens up. I just got a new dog, and I love this dog. I love this dog, but he is crazy. Now I know why he was an orphan. And there's so many times I want to be reactionary, but I have to see that I have to see myself in relationship with that dog and having it work. Not get reactionary, get visionary. It's so easy to get reactionary. No, get visionary. I'm going to see that. I'm going to see us getting along. I'm going to see him not running away for 2 hours at a time. I'm going to see him staying with us and loving it. Do you see what I'm saying? We just get so, I could be reactionary. In fact, I actually did. I went there for a while. I said, Tim, if it's not working out, there are people that want standard poodles. He will have a good home. I know you do. There are standard poodle owner wannabes. But see, that's reactionary instead of visionary. You have to be visionary first. Someone in one of my classes finally said, she didn't want to say it because she didn't think she could do it, but she really wanted to go to Egypt, and she didn't want to talk about Egypt because I can't go there. And I said, what is your good? Well, my heart says I want to go to Egypt. Well, then just say you want to go to Egypt. It doesn't harm anything. There's no bells go off. Actually, if there's a bell goes off, it's called the truth bell because you're finally telling the truth. God can only work in truth, cannot work in a lie. Truth heals. You have to tell yourself the truth. And so the truth is, she wanted to go to Egypt. Guess what? She's going to Egypt. The money wasn't there, it is there now. I don't know where it came from, none of my business. It's not hers either. But you have to be able to vision it, say it, claim it, whatever it is. I want my children to go to college. I want to live in this neighborhood. I want to have a relationship that works. Blah, blah, blah. Number 2, after you've said it, then you have to become the person that would be living that way, which means free or whatever. You just have to, you start to feel it. See, it's a thought plus a feeling that equals a reaction. And a lot of times we have the thought, but the feeling is back in the old. It's back in the other thing. That's hard. I want friends, but I feel alone. No one likes me. I want to prosper, but I feel poor. I want to be creative, but I don't feel like I'm worthy to produce anything. Do you see that mixed message? Which means you'll go nowhere. One step forward, one step back is no step. There's no movement. So we can be spouting a whole lot of stuff, but if our feeling isn't supporting what we're spouting, then it doesn't go anywhere. So we must say it and then vision it. And you know what? It's easier to do than we think, because there's a part, and I just loved this person that I got to work with after first service. She said, I don't feel like that's true. And of course you don't. Because if you've told yourself over and over and over again, I'm not worthy of this, and then you start to say you're worthy, it will feel like a lie. But that's why you come to a place like this. We are to remind you of who you are. We're not telling you how God thinks. We're not telling you that you have to be a certain way, that you have to eat a certain food, that you have to do a certain thing. But we are saying, guess what? We believe that you are the place where God expresses something beautiful and unique. And you know that, and that's why you got up. You are in the most unchurched city in the United States, and you are here because you want to remember who you are. That's the truth. And even though that woman doesn't feel good when she says that she deserves something better, you know what? She put herself in front of me. Ha! Which tells me she wanted to know that she was worthy. You come here because you want to remember your oldest, most ancient truth. You know, there's a quote in the Bible that says we are saved by the Ancient of Days. The Ancient of Days is in you. It's your ancient memory of where you came from and who you are. And it saves us from our limitation and from our habitual thinking that somehow we are flawed. So have a thought, cultivate the feeling. You were given imagination. As far as I know, no other species has imagination to create like we do. If they did, we as human beings would be in big trouble. We have imagination. You can imagine anything. So kick it into gear. Number 3, forgiveness. If you have something against someone, that against is against. And it's hard to flow with the love of God when you are against. This shows up in most prosperity books. You'll find it in the mother, or I should say the father of all prosperity books, which is Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. He has a chapter. It's not called Forgiveness. What he calls it is God will pay your debts. And the idea is that when you think people owe you or have wronged you, that blocks the flow of good, and you need to forgive them so God can flow more freely through you. But I want to talk about something that gets a really bad rap and elevate it to a high and holy state, and that's envy. Envy. Now, envy's not jealousy. Jealousy is wanting to keep what you think you have. You want to keep the relationship, you want to keep your friends, you want to keep your job, you want to keep your money, you want to keep your goods. That's grabby. That also needs to be forgiven, because grabby can't accept thee, okay? But envy is a high and holy thing. You heard it here. High and holy envy. That is seeing what someone else has and saying, ooh, if I see it and it strikes me, it is now mine to accept. Not the way they have it, but that they have it. You don't want their husband. You want a relationship like that. I have to be very clear. Because you're hanging on every word, and I just scared me there for a second. You don't want their job. You want a job that expresses that kind of creativity that you think they have. When you see something that you love out there and you envy that, it's for yours to accept. I saw my sister and her family went to Disneyland. The whole family went to Disneyland, and so this huge family is going down these, rides and stuff, and I put envy. Why? Because it's time for me to accept that also. That's high and holy envy. Now there's low envy. And I got this, well, I couldn't come up with this on my own, but it's sin. If you don't like that, it's not my fault. It's a sin. It's a sin to compare. It's a mistake. It will separate you from your good. But to envy and say, oh, I want to go that way also, can be a light showing you where you want to go, what road you want to go down now. Next, while you're working on your envy and your forgiveness of others and certainly not being jealous, you keep at it until there's a shift that happens. Day 33 of 40 Days to Prosperity. Persistent thought about prosperity and how prosperity is brought to us will make you a magnet for prosperity. You've got to think about it, think about it, think about it, because most likely you have thought about the problem, thought about the problem, thought about the problem, thought about the problem, thought about the problem. Think about the solution, think about the solution. No, don't think about the solution because you may not come up with a solution. Think that there is a solution. There is a solution. There is a solution. I am in the mind that created all of the solutions that we see, and there's more solutions to unfold. If the universe can come up with a solution on how to cross a large body of water, it can come up with a solution with what I face now. Solution, solution, solution. You get to stay at it. And then the last thing that I want to say is that you contribute to the thriving of others. Once again, giving and receiving are a cyclical thing. If it's all about you, you have now sinned again, which then it's all about you. And if it's all about you, you're on your own. And some people do really well on their own. But it's easier having the universe lift us. It really is. It's just so much easier. You can contribute to things that you believe in, the planet. You can contribute to children. I personally like contributing to anything that's environmental. I contribute to organizations that support animals. And I also commit to and contribute to a community that helps others thrive, and that's this one. This place helps people thrive. This is a message that's not everywhere. Now, it is in a way, because you can get a nice self-help book and it says a lot about what's happening here, but this is a community that helps people. It's a community where you can have someone pray for you. On your program, you will find on the front, it's not on this one, so I have an old one. On the front now, they have the prayer lines and the inspiration lines. So there's all sorts of things that we have as a community to support you. And this is where I now state what my good is. My good is that everyone that comes here supports this place, especially when they've reached the place where they have something to contribute again, that there is support happening. And that it's not just support for, I had a great, boy, Kathianne was on. Because I always am. But it's like, I was served, but more than that, I know others are served. I know more is going on than what's just happening here for me. There's a good for me, and I ought to have it, and it is to be part of an organization where people contribute to not only their well-being, but the well-being of people who will follow them. Sharon Ramey was here today at first service, and she sat by Mike Thorson, who's been here for as long as I have, at least 30 years. And what she said to Mike Thorson is, "Thank you, Mike, for contributing so that I had a place when I showed up." And Sharon is in Texas, but she continues to contribute so that she knows that there will be a place for others that will come and she'll never even know them. Sometimes you just play it forward. What's happened so far is that I've talked about this particular Thriving Giving Intention card for the last, I don't know, I think we've talked about it for 3 weeks, and every week we get about 5 or 6 of these, and I'm very grateful for those 5 or 6, which means to me that there's a whole lot of people who haven't filled this out yet. We just haven't had time. So does everyone have one of these? If not, we've got people who are willing to hand them out. Does everyone have pins? We're going to do the sharing of the pins. Loaves and fishes. We were going to do loaves and fishes, but fishes don't smell well after a while. So hopefully everyone has one of these. I'd love for you to prayerfully think about what you have received from this community and what you know you will continue to receive from this community. And even that, even if you're here for just the first time and you never want to come back, do you want other people to receive from this community? How will you support someone else being able to sit here and be told that there's absolutely nothing wrong with them and that they deserve the support of the universe? So you put your name, the statistics down, give you time for that, and then what your annual gift is going to be. If you have been a long-time donor, think about perhaps giving us a raise. So if you've been giving $10 a week, would you give 12? If you've been giving $100 a month, would you give 120? I noticed that you really stepped it up last time. The reason for that is sometimes we go unconscious and we continue to give what we've always given, and everything, as you know, continues to go up. So to just be conscious about your giving level. And the other thing that I'm offering is, and this is a tough one. This is, all I'm talking about now is you supporting this community, but I want to talk to those people who want to make the deep dive into the infinite. Because it's one thing to say, I want to be intimate with the infinite. Well, one of the ways to be infinitely connected to the infinitely connected to the infinite, is to say, I'm taking God as my partner. I want God to handle all the heavy lifting in my life. I promise that I'll say it, I'll feel it, and God's going to do the work. Well, if it's going to be your partner, then you share in your good with that partner. And for me, that's called tithing. That's not for everybody. I mean, I think it would work for everybody, but it's an act and leap of faith because it really grows you. For those of you that want to take that leap, I have 2 things to offer. First of all, a money-back guarantee. If you tithe for 6 months and it doesn't work, you get your money back, because I've noticed it works for people. And the other thing is that I will be putting together a program for those people who want to make that deep dive. But you've got to make the commitment. I'll commit to you, and you'll commit to the center. Because I know that sometimes it's scary, and I know that when I'm doing things that are weird, like I'm having to do things that are weird in a different arena, it's easier if I have someone go with me. So think about those things. Take time to fill this out. We're going to hear beautiful music. And I'll have our Board of Trustees and some of our ministers come forward to receive your pledges. When you give your pledge, you will receive a gift. And if we could have one on this side too. And I know it's very shy. So to the first person up they get an award in heaven. So think about it. If you haven't brought it forward, bring it forward. If you have, and you want to redo this, bring it forward. You are the place where this organization is made strong, and I am grateful. Sometimes it's really difficult to say, ooh, I don't want to be up there. I don't want to be drawing notice to myself. You know, every single person that is on our board of trustees and every single person that I know that is on the staff takes a stand for the well-being of our community all the time. Always taking a stand for your well-being. Thank you for taking a stand for us. And so it is.